Welcome. Happy Thursday, and welcome to a one-on-one with Lady Nakia Wright, a series of hope. This month, we are focusing on the topic of domestic violence. Thank you so very much for joining us. I ask that you share this with your social media audience. We are going to get started in just one moment. Again, I believe today we will share some information that I believe will be extremely vital to our listening audience. So again, I will ask that you share, share, share. And because sometimes I am technology savvy, I am trying to figure out how to share. Again, if you're just joining us, welcome. If you have not done so, before we get started, make sure that you like the Faith-Based Advisory Board page. Okay. We will not belabor the hour. I am grateful for the yes that I have joining me on today. And I believe in making sure that we utilize time wisely. Again, my name is Lady Nakia Wright. I am the chair of the Faith-Based Advisory Board for Prince George's County. I have the honor and the privilege of serving with our overseer, Reverend Charles McNeil, and our co-chair, Dr. Sharon Anderson. I am grateful for being chosen to walk with such bold trailblazers in such a time as this. To our courageous county executive, Angela Alser-Brooks, we are honored and privileged that you've created a platform where we can share the voice of our faith-based community, that we can be a resource for information, that we can be a called on answer in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of a time that will forever be talked about in history. So we're again grateful for her leadership, grateful for the fact that she chose us for such a time as this, and just grateful to live in such a thriving county as Prince George's County is. For the month of October, if you've been following our page, you will know that we decided to, if you followed our page, you know that I've been doing a town hall series with some of my ladies in ministry. And I've been doing this with Lady Peggy Macklin and Lady Webtonoma Davis, who have, I mean, their yes means so much to me. And it started out as an idea, and I never knew that it would grow to the levels that it's grown to today. But you've seen that we've started to be an answer for relevant topics that are necessary. I decided to branch out from that to do a little bit more for the month of October as it pertains to domestic violence, because while Prince George's County is an extremely affluent county, our domestic violence numbers are the highest here in Maryland. And I believe that it's a topic that we should not only have in October, but it's an ongoing topic that we should have constantly. I'm grateful that my very first guest on my one-on-one series of hope is none other than a survivor by the name of Teresa Long. Here in Prince George's County, I did the numbers, and the numbers are startling. As you know, that we're in a pandemic, and during the pandemic, we're quarantined. And if you are intercessors in the earth, I am asking for a plea from you to pray for the women and the men who are living with their abusers and they have nowhere to go. Our numbers here in the county are extremely alarming. In the state of Maryland, think about this. In the state of Maryland, This is just one day. And this is just the ones that decided to report. We had 702 cases of domestic violence cases filed in one day in our state. One is one too many. So, intercessors, I ask you, I'm pleading with you to make sure that you not only pray for the victims, but you also pray for the abusers. We need you to stand up in such a time as this. Teresa Long is with us, and she's going to be sharing in just a moment. She is a survivor of domestic violence. She has learned how to get the power out of her pain. She is a trailblazer. She is courageous. She is bold. She is here, and she decided that she's going to share what some people never survive. Domestic violence does not look the way that we think that it looks. And one of the campaigns that Prince George's County has done that I'm honored to know about is a campaign called Stop the Violence. In Prince George's County, one of the things that we realize is typically when you think about domestic violence, most people think of, and this is just a poor analogy, but this is what many people can relate to, a Lifetime movie where somebody is beating you, you're hiding, and you're physically abused. But domestic violence has many shapes and many forms, from social to economic to physical to mental, psychological. There are many faces of domestic violence. Now, Teresa, I'm going to introduce you to some and present you to others. Teresa Long, who is a survivor of domestic violence. Can you share for the listeners listening today, what did domestic violence look like to you?
Hi, thank you, Dr. Wright. Hello, everyone. So before I even went through it, domestic violence was the person cowering in the corner, wouldn't stand up for themselves. But for me, it was I was beat down mentally first, emotionally, you know, attacked, and then it turned into physical. It wasn't physical in the beginning, you know. I was in a 17-year marriage, and he made all the money. So I was financially, we had 4 kids. And it started off as putting me down, telling me I didn't do something right. Which, you want to please your husband, you want to please your mate and everything. So you start trying to do certain things. No matter what I did, it wasn't enough. And then it got to the point, and I wasn't like to me, a weak woman. I would defend other people. I would stand up for myself. If he said something to me, I would say something back. But the constant, him constantly belittling me and making me feel stupid. I'm relying on him financially. He took a lot. He tried to take my family from me, but he couldn't do that because we're a close-knit family. So he started taking away my means of support. So before I met him, I had my own job. I had everything. He started taking certain things away. Well, you don't need that. I ultimately quit my job and started working at home. So now I'm dependent on him. But I didn't see it as that. I saw it as my husband trying to take care of me and my family. So it was a lot of trickery in it. As I look back now, but then I thought that, okay, this is how this man wants to love me. He wants to take care of me and his family. So it was nothing like I thought domestic violence was. Like, even when I got out of it, when I went to the doctor, mm-hmm. and I had to report certain things, he said, you're a domestic violence victim. I'm not a domestic violence because I fought back, and I thought because I fought back, I wasn't a victim, but I can't beat a man. And yes, I'm in there getting stitches, and I still did not think of myself as being a domestic violence victim. So.
And I believe that many people may feel the exact same way you do. I know that life has happened, and when you look back on, if you're just joining us, thank you. My name is Lady Nakia Wright, and we are discussing a survivor story based from the eyes of someone who experienced domestic violence. And one of the topics she said was she was living in the midst of psychological and physical abuse, economic abuse, and you did not realize that you were a domestic violence victim because you were bold. You were still smiling, although it may have been fake. You were still smiling. You were still showing up. You thought that this man loves me. Did you feel as if his actions were an act of love?
I felt like something was wrong with me. You know, like with anything, if something is told to you or done to you for so long, you just adapt. So I thought something was wrong with me. So I didn't look at it as abuse. I looked at it as I need to get myself together. If I do this, he'll stop. If I do this, it'll get better. But it didn't. It's like everything he was able to take from me, I feel like I allowed that, you know. And not to say that people who do that, I can't say it's weak, but you just want your marriage to work. You want your relationship to work. So by no means do I feel like I was a weak individual. The shame and everything came after I got out of it. You know, I was ashamed. I felt guilty. I felt like I was weak, but like I tell people that I run across, I tell them, if someone has to take that much time and that much energy to break you down, you're strong. You don't have to break down a weak person, but a strong person you have to break down.
One of the things that I believe that needs to be paid attention to, that from January 2020 to now, over 4,000 protective orders have been placed for domestic violence victims. And these are, again, I'm talking to the ones that actually come forth and have the courage to speak up, to say, I am a victim of domestic violence. What would you say to the ones that, twofold question. There are some that do not have the courage to say, I am being mentally, psychologically, and physically abused. What would you say to the heart of someone who may be watching, who may be going through this and do not have the courage to come forward or to even leave?
Well, I have to say this first. I had support. And that's why I started volunteering with the Family Justice Center. I had support, and I had to think about the people who did not have support. You know, what's your alternative when you have kids? You know, but what I would say to them is, I took a lot of the abuse because I thought I was shielding my kids from it. If you have children in a situation like this, they see more than you think they see. I would get my kids out because they're gonna, if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your children.
Amen.
Because they see a lot, and you don't want them to think that abuse is love.
That's
you know?
You do not want them to think abuse is love.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I would say get out. If you have anyone to go to, like my whole thing is, you know, I didn't want to leave my lifestyle. You know, I was of course, it wasn't a domestic violence situation to where we were broke. I mean, we lived in a big old house. I drove a Jaguar and wore Gucci. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't want to leave my lifestyle behind. It's not worth it. It really isn't worth it. Any of those moments where a gun was held against my head, or I was hit and fell and hit my head on the floor, I could have died. It's not worth it. You can rebuild. You can't come back from death. And I'll tell anyone, if you feel that your life is in danger, get out. Leave it all behind. You know?
If you feel like your life is in danger, get out. Let me first say, I commend you for having the courage to get out. I know it's not, I can only imagine how difficult it is to leave the comfort of your safe, your home. Like you said, when we did the statistics on the people who have experienced domestic violence, one of the things they said that made them stay the longest was being able to take care of themselves, leaving the comfort of a financial provider, and to go from the comfort of a big home, driving luxury cars, wearing luxury clothes, and just the thought of, if they do not have a support system, just the thought of having to go to a shelter. Please know that Prince George's County does have a no turn away policy. They do have extenuating circumstances for those who are used to living a certain lifestyle. Do not let that stop you from getting out. Call 311 and get out. I mean, and you said something that was so key. You said, I can rebuild, I can recover, but I can't raise myself up from the dead.
That's right.
One moment, your life could have been taken away from you. And while the thought of leaving is so monumental, is so huge, I do not make light of it. The one thing that I will say is your life is worth it.
Yes.
And I commend you over and over and over again for having the courage to leave, to have the courage to tell your kids that this is not what love looks like. And having the courage to break the cycle of abuse is it. I mean, where's your cape, Teresa? Where is your cape? Many people have died in what you survived.
Yeah.
So how did you financially rebuild? Let's share that, because some people need living proof that I can make it. You telling me is not enough. I need living proof that there's life after this, and a life worth living. Because listen, just thinking about the struggle will make somebody endure the abuse a lot longer than what they have to.
Right. Well, for me, it took me, I'm just gonna be honest, it took me forever to find a job. But I'm telling you, the first night of sleeping at my mom's house, I could breathe.
Amen.
I wasn't afraid, you know. And everyone doesn't have a mom but if you have a friend, if you have someone at church, just anyone you can go to and trust. When I tell you, just getting away, it's going to be hard at first. I'm not going to lie and say it's easy, but it's worth it. I started studying. I didn't have the money to go to school, so I just started reading up on things I knew I needed to get back into the workforce, because I've been out of the workforce for, oh my goodness, 15 years on my own, independently. So I just started reading up on things. I started applying to jobs I had never applied to. But you got to start from the bottom. And I'm like, I prayed to God and I said, God, if you get me out of this, I don't care where I have to start. That's where I'm going to start. I worked some jobs I did not like, but I learned a lot from it. Amen. I learned to appreciate just the little things. Like Gucci didn't matter anymore. Fresh air and being outside in the trees and not worried about when I'm going to go home to. That mattered more. That meant more. I started looking into employment agencies, something I would never do. There's some really good employment agencies. There are a lot of nonprofits that'll help you. I just kept, I think I filled out at least 150 applications, you know, and I didn't get called from a lot of them, but I still did that work. I still did what I needed to do. And finally, you know, I got a job. It was a low paying job, but it was a job. I was doing it on my own. It was my money. One thing I will say, the creditors will call, talk to them. I talk to my creditors. Hey, I'm going through this. I don't have this. And a lot of them I'm trying not to get emotional. I had a creditor pray on the phone with me. Yes. He prayed with me. You know, be open, be honest. Let people know. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be afraid. Let them know what you're going through.
That's good.
There's so many people out here who will help you. Amen. You know, so I'm gonna get it together.
And listen, your tears are your strength. Don't hold them back. By all means, your tears are.
I'm really grateful for. Like I said, I had the creditors say, "Okay, we'll call you next month." Whenever, because I was going back and forth to court. I was trying to get a job and I was being honest. Who else was on the phone and tell them? I had Pepco come to my door and I said, hey, I don't have any money to pay you. He was like, well, I'm going to turn around and pretend like I didn't come. And I'll be back next week because I won't send anybody else out, but see if you can get the money together. So you just have to communicate. You can't, when you get out, you can't cower. You have to be strong for you. You have to be strong for your kids. You have to be strong for other women. Like, hey, I can do this. I had to look myself in the mirror every day, and I would say, you're okay. You're going to do this. You're strong. You're powerful. Who were you before him? And that's one thing I had to remember, who I was before I got with him. Amen. I was strong. I was independent, so I had to get back to that. In 17 years, I lost a lot of that, but I got back to it. I can't honestly say I got back to it. And to be able to gauge your growth is it's amazing. Where I started and how I got here. Prayer was in a lot of it.
Listen, prayer is key. Prayer is key. Yeah. And the one thing that you find when you have a prayer life is that God will place angels in strategic places like the Pepco man to bless you in unexpected ways. Oftentimes, I've heard people who've been in domestic violence situations that said, if God loved me, why would he put me in the midst of this? While I will never understand why God allows the things that he does, one thing that I have always done was trust him. You may not understand it, but always trust him. And when you get to a place where you get the courage to leave, my prayer has always been that once you leave, that your peace is so priceless that it is worth more than what you left. Peace is priceless. You know how many rich people can't sleep at night? Peace is priceless. And I'm grateful that he gave you that. I'm grateful that prayer has been your constant. And I'm grateful that God showed himself faithful in your life and you said something that's so key. There is a level of shame and embarrassment that comes along with your choices that we make. As humans, we are not perfect. Oftentimes, our life looks like our choices. But don't let your choices hold you in bondage. Don't allow your shame and your embarrassment keep you from getting the help that you need. Prince George's County has a wealth of free resources for you. The Family Justice Center is a hub for every resource that you would need to survive and live a healthy, thriving life in Prince George's County. The only thing that you have to do is just pick up the phone, dial 311, and start somewhere. And I'm grateful that you started. Now, one of the things that ignited a huge conversation with myself and my First Lady friends, please make sure that you join our next town hall on October the 20th. We're going to be sharing a moment with family members of domestic violence survivors, because oftentimes you had a phenomenal support system, God-given. That is a blessing. Some people do not. Some people have family members or associates where they don't realize it, but they become an additional abuser to a domestic violence victim. You don't understand why somebody stays as long as they stay once you find out. When somebody shares their truth with you, when someone shares their pain with you, do not take it lightly, and do not say what you would do had you been in that situation, because you never know what you would do unless you're in it. And so we are going to discuss on the 20th how family members support and or assist in the abuse of domestic violence victims. So please make sure you mark your calendars. That's October 20th at noon. But the one thing that I want to ask you is, as you mentioned something which is key, that there are a lot of people sitting in our congregations every week who are victims of domestic violence. And one of the things that the pandemic has done for me, and thank you for being a part of history, as you know, COVID-19 and everything related to it will forever be spoken of in the history of our country. And you just put this mark on your calendar. You've just put a notch in history, ma'am. So make sure you keep this video. One of the things that you realize is that when you go to church, we go to church and we're so busy in our own world that we can miss pain right in our presence. One of the safe places that you went to was your church. Can you share with us how that experience was for you?
Before I do that, though, I do want to go back to the fact that I had family, but volunteering for the Prince George's Family Justice Center, there are a lot of nonprofits in there. You can create your own family. I want people to know that there are people in there who care. It's a plethora of resources, the people who really care and just reach out. They're still doing outreach and on site, services. So don't think that just because you don't have family, you don't have friends, that you can't do that. Reach out to them,
Shami, can you put the number to the Family Justice Center in the chat box? I don't want to get it wrong. If you're listening, please make sure you put the contact information for the Family Justice Center. So I always say this, I have a tribe of women that I've walked with in life for almost 19 years. And I say that my friends are the family that I chose. So the Family Justice Center can be the family that you choose. So they are there, they are available. Oh my goodness, I had the pleasure of speaking with a young lady by the name of Jackie Roan, who's there. I also have the honor of speaking with the head of the Family Justice Center next week, Denise McCain. Next week, same platform, we'll be here, and she runs the Family Justice Center. So I've been in her presence before, and she just has that very calming, inviting demeanor, that some days just your presence will save a life. And I believe that you get that when you walk into the Family Justice Center. Thank you for that.
And I do want to say, when I had to go report, Family Justice Center wasn't in existence. So I had to go to the courthouse, the dull, dim courthouse, and find my way. And when you walk into the Family Justice Center, everything is there. It protects you. Everything is there. So
everything is there.
Everything is there.
You do have an ally.
Yes.
Today, I do believe we are going to save a life. I do.
But as far as the church, I was welcome.
Let me say this. So many churches have programs in place for domestic violence victims. Many churches. It's a huge ministry on many forefronts. But the one thing that I ask everyone isn't an effective ministry. Having one in place is one thing, but having an effective ministry is an altogether different story. So please share your experience.
And that was my experience. The fact that they allowed me to come in and tell my story, to reach out to other domestic violence victims. They even created a domestic violence program, but there was no one to run it effectively. Basically, I think that reaching out to nonprofits, reaching out to the Family Justice Center, reaching out, using your community resources, I think can help a lot. There's a lot that goes into domestic violence. Can't just put everyone in a bubble and think that everything's the same. There's no protocol, honestly. So you have to reach out. You have to ask for help. And sometimes religious institutions, they're not used to reaching out for help, but you're gonna have to put that to the side to save someone. You're gonna have to reach out. Yeah.
Domestic violence is unique, just like you and I are. You and I we're both female. However, we look nothing alike. And I believe that is the same case as it pertains to domestic violence. If you do have a domestic violence program and you want to know if your program is an answer, not just a placement. One of the things I do recommend, I do have a co-chair on the faith-based advisory board. She's also a CEO of a consulting firm called KCG Consulting. And what she does is she looks at your program and she measures it for effectiveness, and she assists you in building a program that actually works and it is a solution. I do highly recommend, please make sure you follow her organization on social media. It's KCG Consulting. And I say often, it's not enough to have a program. Your program has to be an answer. You have to be able to, when someone comes to you, they have to feel so safe with you that they will not ever think of going back.
Yes.
If someone comes to you and they're still in it, they have to have the courage to leave. So you have to have every aspect in place to answer the need. And oftentimes you may not know what the need is. But in what I've said is, can you pivot and can you rise to the call at a moment's notice when someone comes to you for help? Because listen, oftentimes we may only get one chance. We may only get that one chance to save them. And I just say, on our watch, my target audience is the faith-based community. On our watch, we've lost enough. Let's bind together so that we don't lose another one on our watch. Now, one of the things that I have seen was somebody wants to get out. And somebody, I'm going back to this topic because this is the number one reason why many people don't leave, and it's finances. I'm going to give some suggestions that I actually learned from KCG Consulting, and I'm going to ask you what you think about them because you've been in the midst of it. So you would tell me whether or not these are workable strategies. So if you are in the midst of thinking about your exit strategy, one of the things that I've been told is that you open up an account that no one knows about. And if you're able to apply for a line of credit, you get a credit card, you apply for a credit card, and you do not keep this credit card at your home. You find a safe place outside of your home that you can keep this stuff at. When you have access to some money, take a little bit at a time. Prepare your exit. Take a little bit at a time and deposit it into your account. If you do have the luxury of having some influence and a tribe of help, share with them that you want to leave, and share with them about some of the fear factors that keep you bound and staying. Is there anything else that you would like to add to it?
Preparation is key. If you're planning to leave, my whole thing with that is prepare. I think the credit card, the account is a good thing to have. For the ones that can get out, for the ones who aren't always trailed, if you can do that, that's good. For the ones who can't get out, just leave. I'm just going to say it like that. Just leave, because abusers like to keep their thumb on you. Mm-hmm. I found out my phone had a tracking device in it. So you have to be smart. You know your abuser. Even though you're still there, you know what they're capable of. But if you can prepare.
And listen, and don't allow the lack of preparation to keep you longer, because like she said, just go. In Prince George's County, and that's our target audience. I know that Washington, D.C. and Virginia I know they have similar service. Unfortunately, I do not have that information, but the Family Justice Center has a no turn away policy. Just leave. And I speak strength and courage over you right now to have the strength to just leave. And I know it's not easy. Most things in life are not that simple. But listen, your living is worth it.
Your health and safety, basically. It's safety for you and your kids.
And you said something that's key. And it's not just women, men as well.
You know,
Psychological abuse can be worse than physical abuse. You may not be physically abused, but psychological abuse,
mhm,
many do not recover from it. So
right.
don't just stay because you feel like, oh, I'm not physically abused, so it's not that bad. No, if it's psychological abuse, the Family Justice Center is there for you as well.
And
We
I want to say that my scars, my wounds have healed, but mentally, yeah, I still go to counseling. You heal every day because you're still growing. You're still trying to get past it, and you find yourself, you know, getting depressed or rethinking it. Oh, was he right that I'll never be nothing and I'm stupid? You know, when things don't happen the way you want them to happen. But that's just the devil. I'm telling everybody that is just the devil. If you keep going forward, everything will work out. So
Amen.
I mean, I don't. You just got to get out. You got to see that you're worth it. You
Amen.
know, I'm with self-esteem, and that's something I never discussed with my family growing up. I was strong. Um, I spoke up for myself and everything, but I had underlying self-esteem issues.
That's it. And that's key.
That
Most people do.
he realized it and keyed in on it. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So if you have those underlying issues and they figure them out, that's the way to you. You know, and I had to realize why I allowed myself to go through what I went through. So I went through to counseling and I figured it out. You know, but you have to be open and honest with yourself. You know, I keep telling people to be open and honest with other people. Be open and honest with yourself. Talk to yourself. Tell yourself, hey, this is why you did this. This is why, you know, this is why you feel this way. And you have to start pumping yourself up and say, hey, I'm great.
Yes, you are.
I'm gonna be okay. I
Yeah.
can do this. I don't care what I did in the past. What I what I allowed to happen is not gonna happen anymore. You
No.
know, and this is my first day. And just keep saying, this is my first day, this is my second day, this is my third day. Just keep moving forward. And it
Amen.
will get better. It will get better.
Healing is a process.
Yes.
Healing is a process, and you are living proof that forward steps do manifest a life worth living.
Yes.
Um, One of the things that I appreciate in your voice is that your tenacity and your will to find better. The perception of happiness is not enough to keep your sanity.
Mhm.
And, and you have to know that you deserve a life worth living. And you
Exactly.
deserve to wake up every day and be happy. You deserve to look in the mirror and look at yourself and recognize the person looking back at them. And you are not who your abusers say that you are. Every woman, every man listening, you are strong, you are courageous, you are bold. You
Yes.
have there's an idea in you that'll bless many lives. And
Exactly.
more than anything, you are worth it.
Yes.
Are worth it. Teresa, I thank you for sharing your story with me. The entire month of October, we are going to have the conversation as it pertains to domestic violence.
Right.
It is my prayer, my heart's desire that this month, if it's just one person gets the courage to leave, every hour we spent planning was worth it. Thank
Exactly.
you for sharing your story. So, what are you doing now, Teresa? What should we expect from this great survivor who has learned how to get the power out of her pain, that she recognized who she sees in the mirror? She's happy with herself. Her babies are happy. What are you doing now with this new, fresh look on life?
Well, in 2016, I published a book called Homeful Disclosures.
Amen.
It helped me heal. Actually, I was such a private person. Um, just putting everything out there, just being transparent and vulnerable, helped me to heal.
That's it.
People to me. I'm still working a 9 to 5. I finally got a job, a good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so it took some time, but it helped me grow. And I realized because I was offered a position in 2016 that it fell through. And I was devastated, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. And God knew I wasn't ready. So he put me here and he put me here and he put me there. And you're ready now. And I learned a lot. I grew a lot. You hear people say it's hurt people hurt people, you know, and I realized how easy that was for me to do. Even though I'm not a mean or evil person, it was easy to hurt. It's it's difficult to get better, you know, to better yourself. You know, I do have a nonprofit that I've put the paperwork in for. I want to help children with self-esteem and confidence issues. I will say that I don't hate my abuser. I really feel like I had self-esteem and confidence issues, and so did he.
Amen.
Happy people don't hurt people. Happy people are happy. They help you. Someone going through something or not feeling confident and comfortable with themselves is going to act out. So I don't hate them. I wish them all the best. But I do feel like we teach our little girls to be strong, and you don't take this and you don't take that, and this is what you do. But we don't do that for our little boys. Our little boy, and who are they dating? You know, we build up their self-esteem. We need to build up the little boys as well.
That's good.
And that's what I want to do. That's how I want to retire, helping little kids understand their self-worth.
How do we get your book? How do we order your literary work?
You can go to poemful.com, poemful.com, or you can reach out to me on my email as well. It's TRESAYVONNE So it's Teresa Yvonne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Teresa Yvonne.
Yeah, and even on all social platforms as well. It's Teresa T.RESA Yvonne.
Amen. One of the things that I would like for every young woman and every young man to hear, that when a man puts his hands on you, that's not love.
No, it's not.
When a man is extremely controlling of you, and oftentimes you look at it and say, oh, he loves me, you know, he can't help himself. He can't help himself. She can't help herself. That's not love. I want us to recognize that love doesn't hurt. Love doesn't harm. Love isn't violent. That is not an outpouring of love. That is someone who does need help. And right at a young age, you don't have the capacity to help them. So wish them well and move on.
Right, exactly.
I'm saving your life right now. You people, that is not love. Let me tell you something. And the Family Justice Center is there for not just victims, but victors. If you are an abuser and you realize you need help, 311 is there for you too. Get some help. Oftentimes you are it's a cycle of behavior. And if you are an abuser, you do have the courage to just stop, and you need some help as well. Reach out for help, because there's a better you in you.
Exactly.
So I say that as well. Teresa, thank you for sharing this moment with us. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I really, really am honored for your courage. I will say to you and everyone that's listening, God does keep his promises.
Yes.
Everything that he ever spoke over your life, and he started out with, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. He started out with that. So for every ear listening, you are wonderfully made. God designed you to be unique. He designed you to be successful. He put something in us for us to pull out of us to make the world a better place. He is not a man that he shall lie. And Joshua 21:45 says, he always keeps his promises. So I'll say to every heart listening, pull on the promise of God in you and have the courage to choose you today. Teresa is living proof that if you choose you, that God will place people in your path along the way to let you know, I got you. I just need you to take the first step. When you got the first step, I got you. And he is so faithful that he will surround you with help. 311 is the Family Justice Center. It's the hub for every resource, every help that you will need in Prince George's County. We have so many free resources to help you the day you choose you. In addition to 311 in the comment section, we did put some resources that are available throughout the county in addition to it. But let's just start simple. Let's just start with 311. Thank you so much, Teresa, for sharing your story.
Thank you. And I'm glad you said free, because a lot of people think they have to pay.
Free.
Free. It's free. So,
And
yeah,
listen, if you don't have skills, they have on-site training to get you all the skills, all the help that you need. But we can't help you if you're not alive.
exactly.
I look
Thank you
forward.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us today. It is my hope that you got something out of today, that it was a blessing to you, because it was a blessing for me. Thank you again. On behalf of myself and the Faith-Based Advisory Board, thank you so very much. We look forward to speaking with Denise McCain next Thursday at the exact same time. And we're going to continue the conversation. We wish you well, Teresa.
Thank you. Bless you.
Bless you.